Hey, Cardboard Box Productions here. Anyway, today I just wanted to tell you that, I'm a big fan of Epic Mickey. So, yeah, you know that game on the Wii? Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. So, I recommended the game to one of my friends. And know what he said? I'll tell you what he said. He said he didn't want to get at the game because GameSpot apparently gave it a bad review. So naturally, I wanted to check out what this GameSpot organization and reviewed the game and like their review, and it really wasn't that good. So yeah, I'm gonna be defending one of my favorite games on the Wii. Well, my favorite game on the Wii and one of my favorite games in general. So without any further ado, here's the video. And just one thing to keep in mind, just like last time, I recorded this off my computer screen, so keep that in mind. How dare you? Why are you so arrogant about your video? Are you confident that it's good? Well, guess what? It's not. I mean, seriously.
Disneyland has a slogan, the happiest place on earth, but you won't find much joy in Mickey's adventure through the Magic Kingdom.
I honestly beg to differ.
This evocative trip through Disney's hallowed history offers clever twists to the characters and imagery that have become ingrained in the popular consciousness.
Congratulations for pointing out the obvious. Seriously, anyone who knew about Epic Mickey prior to this review almost definitely knew that.
These artistic touches are not enough to salvage the rest of this dour experience.
You really sound like such a downer right now. Seriously.
A number of fundamental design flaws derails this colorful adventure before it ever has a chance to get going.
Sounds like someone who didn't give the game a chance.
Sloppy controls and a woeful camera continually stand in the way of your progress.
Oh no, the woeful camera that has like 4 ways to adjust.
But it's the preponderance of dull objectives that smothers any whiff of enjoyment.
Funny thing about these objectives, no, I bet you're never going to guess this, but there's this thing. You don't have to do 'em.
Epic Mickey uses nostalgia to suck you into this world, but its reliance on antiquated gameplay is what makes it such a difficult game to endure.
Really, well, I quote, endured it before, had an awesome time with it. I'm going to play through it again, and I'm looking forward to the sequel.
An element in Mickey's repertoire that separates this from other games in the genre is a magic paintbrush that has the power to create or destroy specific objects. This is a neat idea and does lead to a number of interesting puzzles. For instance, you can remove a piece of mountain to find hidden treasure inside, or paint a bridge so you can cross a dangerous lake.
Nah, seriously? No, I didn't even think you had to paint the bridge to go across. I thought you had to thin it out.
But even though this feature can be cool at times, there isn't nearly enough freedom in how you use it. You can only interact with specific objects, and it's not always clear what you can and cannot spray.
2 things. 1, it's more the more colorful stuff and the faded out stuff that you can tell something goes there, but it's not solid that you can spray. And 2, what did Josh Scorcher say one of the most important rules of game design was? Oh yeah, if you give a player too much power or too much freedom, they're going to abuse it.
More troubling is the lack of permanence. Every time you exit and re-enter an area, all of your hard work is erased. So even if you paint every object into existence, it disappears as soon as you leave the screen.
Couple things. Every time you paint or thin something out, like, it builds up your meter, which lets you get guardians, which help you, and if it stayed that way, then it'll be hard to get more guardians. Second, it's fun to paint the things in, I found, so why not let it do you again? I don't want to destroy stuff. And third of all, it doesn't matter. I swear. Nitpick, blah, 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 blah.
Your aiming cursor isn't always accurate, which means you have to line up your shot multiple times before the ink hits the right spot.
Well, I actually didn't have a problem with it.
This cool concept loses its impact as soon as you realize its limitations.
The limitations don't seem so bad once you realize how game-breaking the paintbrush would be if they weren't in place.
Unfortunately, Mickey's magic paintbrush is the only gameplay element that is actually unique. The rest of the game is a tired retread of countless games that have come before it. Your objectives are particularly stale. In each location you visit, there are characters you talk to who give you tasks to complete, but these boil down to tired fetch quests that are incredibly dull and time-consuming.
Despite the fact that most of these fetch quests are skippable, really, and I didn't find most of them repetitive, the only side quest that was required that I didn't like was Gilda's races, because I mean, you just have to race that thing in a certain amount of time.
A boring experience that is further hampered by the bland 2D platforming levels between each section. The first time you play one of these levels, it's a treat because it looks like an old Disney cartoon. But the level design and controls are so antiquated that they aren't any fun to play. And once you slog through the same level a half dozen times, you'll wish you could just skip these portions entirely.
I found each projector screen to be a fresh, new, and fun experience. But once you've gone through it like 5 times, I will admit it does start to get a little bland.
Not traipsing from one point to the next, there's combat to take part in, but this has issues as well. You can perform a spin attack to stun your foes, but you need to use your brush to finish the job. Mickey has a choice to either convert enemies to his side or by spraying them with paint, or dissolve them with thinner.
And that's an example of using the brush.
This simple option isn't as easy as it sounds. Certain enemies cannot be converted at all, and it's difficult to remember what enemies are susceptible to in the middle of battle.
This is an example of why I don't think you are paying attention when you are playing this game. It's pretty easy to distinguish the two. The blotlings, which look like big purple monsters, can be converted. The beetleworks, which look like robots, cannot. Only someone who wasn't paying attention would know that. I mean, seriously. You clearly were not paying attention.
Even if you just use Sinner all the time, combat still isn't any fun.
Because there's no variety. Oh, and by the way, beetleworks actually, while they can't be converted, spraying them with paint will do you good because it slows them down, which you're going to need with some of the tougher ones.
You have to spray an enemy for quite a while before you defeat it, which is not only tedious, but it's challenging when a bunch of enemies are chasing you down and you need to fight them all off at once.
Oh no, there's challenge! Epic Mickey was a pretty easy game already, and plus the guy recording the footage seems to be doing a good job. In fact, I bet he had fun with it and he's mad that you're giving Epic Mickey a bad review.
Battles consist of you running around and spraying anything that moves while you desperately try to get the camera to focus on what you want.
Here's a tip. I don't blame you for not knowing this because the game never tells you. You can press C while pointing at an enemy to lock onto them. Also, why is that banner on the bottom there? I'm pretty sure that this is GameSpot by checking the video, and from the content, I'm pretty sure that you're reviewing Epic Mickey, and since it's a Wii exclusive, I think I know it's on the Wii.
Epic Mickey has so many issues that once you overcome one thing, there are half a dozen more problems beating you down.
Weird, because I found less than a dozen problems. I found more problems with this video.
Controls and boring objectives make progress a chore.
A chore for the very impatient.
And a troublesome camera ensures you won't even be able to see where you need to go half the time.
I'll sing a song about how to adjust the camera. You can adjust it with a control pad. You can go into first person view with the one button and you can center the camera behind Mickey with the C button, and also use the C button to lock onto enemies you don't pay attention.
The gameplay is so frustrating in Epic Mickey because the story and visuals give you a solid incentive to play.
The story that you didn't bring up at all in this entire review.
But it's not worth the effort.
For those with impatience and poor attention span.
Every gameplay scenario is fraught with problems.
For nitpickers and not paying attentioners like you.
And there are very few good moments to look forward to after enduring all the lousy parts. Mickey shows that even a good implementation of a cherished license can't overcome an abundance of fundamental design flaws.
Okay, well, video's over, so now, what did I think of it? Well, let's get on with what I think of the video. First of all, one thing I didn't like was that he just sounded depressed throughout this entire video, like, oh, I've played a bad game, no, Okay, second, some of his complaints seem to be nitpicks, such as like it resetting what you painted. Third of all, and also like not having freedom with the brush. Do you want to be overpowered? Because just play some other game if you want something to be super overpowered. I mean, seriously. Also, at the end of the review, he said the story was good, which I agree with, but he never brought up or explained the story once in the entire review other than that point when he just said it was good. Also, some of the things he brought up were just like him not paying attention. I mean, seriously, how can you not tell Blotlings and Beetleworks apart? One's a purple monster and one's a robot. And also, I didn't like how in the beginning and towards the end they're just like, oh, look at us, we're so awesome, we're GameSpot, oh yeah! I do find it a real shame though that because of this awful review, a friend of mine got cheated out of an awesome game. I always find it odd how the quote professional reviewers are normally not as good as the quote unprofessional reviewers. I'm Cardboard Box Productions, and if you want a good internet review, I'd recommend going over to WeViewer or CJS0 instead of these guys. So, goodbye, YouTube.